Yeah, I am technically still alive. I forget that my going live message is the I am alive. I should change it maybe. Or maybe it's good. Hey. I think my microphone stuff's good. I'm turning the music down a bit for me because it's kind of loud. My earphones. My headphones. Sweet. Okay, awesome. Hey. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, I was gonna work on this boss fight a bit, or this mini boss fight, I guess. Which I started. Oh, cool, awesome. Hey, Randy, hope you're doing well. Yeah, so I was gonna work on this mini boss fight. I started this last week, or last Saturday, a week ago, and it's not done yet. But I have plans for what I want to do with it next. And I kind of started it, but like I didn't get super far. I think the thing I got stuck on last time is like I needed to be able to turn these stone lights back off for the next move I want this guy to do, and that was like I had to do some restructuring of how like entities work a tiny bit, or just like add some stuff there, because it had no way to like turn objects back off due to how my system was set up. So I got that working off stream, and now it's kind of ready for that. So my idea was to have like an electric attack, and he's gonna like, I think the enemy or like the mini boss is gonna like suck out the light out of the stones, and then do a big electric attack that electrifies down to the ground in different ways. And then once the lights are out, you can turn them back on again, like you normally turn them on. But until you turn them on, he's not visible. I guess it's kind of like the boss fight, Link to the Past boss fight a little bit. Spoilers, I guess, on a 25-year-old game. Hey, yeah, this is my game. Yeah, the refactor actually it wasn't a huge refactor of the entities themselves. It was more I have this the system I have set up for like turning things on and off and stuff like that, it was called an objective. So like stone lights have an objective, and then once they're turned on, other things can listen to the objective and like be notified that like they are turned on now. So for example, like this mini boss references these three stone lights, and then once all three are turned on, the objectives are like complete, and then the ghost mini boss gets like a callback like, oh, the objectives were completed. However, the objective system had no like, I wanted a way for the mini boss to then like turn these lights back off, and the objective system has no way to like unobjective, like uncomplete a completed objective. So I needed a way to make it so the mini boss could be like, okay, so for the things I referenced, you can also turn them back off, and then also these stone lights have to like care about that, like they have to be listening for like, oh, my objective was like turned off again, like I'm no longer complete, so like turn back off and then wait for my objective to be recompleted, which is completed again once you hit it. So my objective system just needed, it kind of like it assumed that like once it was completed, it was always completed, and it never had anything else for turning back off again. So I just needed to kind of like restructure that component. So it wasn't entity stuff. It was actually a specific component that needed to kind of be redone. And now it's more of a toggle. Objective is maybe even a weird word, but for what it is. But it's basically like whether something is true, and then it can be toggled on and off, and things can listen to it. So other entities can listen to this being toggled on and off. So now this ghost can check like, oh, like are the lights that I'm referencing, like, is their objective complete? And then you can like turn them back off again. So now I have a way to do that. So yeah. Oh yeah, the world map is getting bigger. Yeah, it's still really unfinished. Like a lot of this stuff is kind of like half baked still. Like this starting area is pretty much I think done. These kind of rooms are fine. They could use some like stuff. And these ones, like structurally, they're kind of there, but they need some like fine tuning and a lot of iteration. And like the background tiles are broken because we kept redesigning parts of it and stuff. So it needs like a pass on like art and everything. This part's pretty much done, I think. It needs also some. It's just like a lot of cleanup work needs to happen, and like there's like no background tiles for a lot of it. And then this area is like not even started. Like my brother Liam did some first passes on some rooms here, but they're not like they don't like a lot of these rooms don't even go anywhere yet. So that stuff's completely undone, or not undone, unfinished, I guess. And then this stuff up here is just kind of like we're just kind of playing around with stuff and thinking about things, but this stuff is like all of these will probably be deleted, and all this is going to be deleted. Yeah, I'm gonna release the level editor when I release this game. I'm going to like ideally like I'd like to post all the source code for the game and the editor as well once the game is done. I don't want to before the game's done, but yeah, my plan is to release the editor and the game and the source code for the game, just on GitHub, and then we'll see. Like, I'm not sure how to I think we'll probably sell this game as well and like put it on the Switch and stuff. So if we sell it, I'm not sure how to like handle releasing all the code, but I'm gonna 100%. I really want to do it, so I'm just gonna look into like maybe just releasing all the code, but then not the art assets. So if you want like the art and the levels, you buy the game, but if you just want to like look at the code, it's there, something like that. Which I guess technically isn't like open source, but like source available. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to release, like I already have an idea, like it's already structured so that oh, that's a bug I have to fix. But it's set up already so that you can swap between different maps and different mods. And then each mod can have its own like player sprite and stuff. So you can make your own like unique mods and stuff. Yeah. And mods, like a lot of the entities are like Lua entities, so you can like script your own entities and stuff. How long have I been making this game? Trying to think. More than a year actually, but it's been really slow. So this is not my full-time project. This is like a thing I've been working on like on weekends mostly, with my brother. So I've been working on other stuff full-time, and then this is kind of like my cool down, chill out project. And I think over a year, maybe a year and a half, something like that. I actually started I started this game kind of as a top-down game at first, and that was probably 2 years ago. And it was a top-down adventure game. And then I kind of repurposed. I restructured it into a platformer in C#, and then I restructured it again into this platformer in C++. So it's gone through a few different iterations. Yeah, Xavier, I think it would be amazing to do that. So hopefully, like I would really like to. I guess. Yeah, until I actually release the source code, it's not that cool, but I really want to release the source code. Whose question is too vague? How do you always know how to approach restructure to get what you want? You never seem to have blockers from what I can tell. I definitely have blockers, but my blockers at this point are more abstract, I think. They're more about design issues or like where to start issues. Like I'm like, I know where the game needs to go, but I can't figure out what to do next on it, kind of. I find those are the things that block me, and I procrastinate a lot. I think it doesn't appear that way on stream because before my streams, I usually say like, this is the thing I'm going to do. Like I know, like today I'm working on this mini boss. And I have discrete goals for what this mini boss is. But I put off making this mini boss for like literally a month. I think more than a month. I put off making this mini boss. So like there's a lot of like me kind of like waiting around to actually start it. But when I'm streaming, I kind of think about what I want to do before streams. So I'm not just like sitting here like, because yeah. But the other thing when it comes to actual refactoring, like code stuff, I think that kind of comes with time. Like I've been programming for a lot of years, like 15 plus years. So when you've been coding for that long, I think how to restructure things, you kind of, it's like it's a puzzle solving thing, and your brain just starts getting good at it, like solving chess puzzles or something. Like if you do it enough, you kind of like get an intuition for what needs to happen. And sometimes I'm wrong though still. Like sometimes I'll refactor something and think it's better, and then it turns out later on it's not. But these are the other thing of just whatever. Like I think a good approach is just trying to figure out on some level, just refactor it into whatever will get it done. Like I need to be able, like for in this case, I need to be able to turn these lights back off. So like, what is the most direct way to be able to turn them back off in a generalized way such that like this object can reference them and turn them off? So that was kind of the goal, right? And I don't know if my implementation is the best version of that, but it was something that just needed to happen. And maybe later on I'll realize like, oh, I need this to be different for like different objects somehow, and I'll refactor it again. But in the meantime, like I'm just trying to do the thing that like gets this done so I can finish this boss. Yeah. How long have I been making this game? Oh yeah, answer that one. Do you have a do you will use a specific library to export the game on different device? Well, this game right now should run on like Windows, Mac, and Linux. But I would need to, since it's C++, I'll need to like compile it for each platform independently. So I'll compile it like once on Linux, once on Mac and stuff. But I'm not using a different library per se. I guess my library, like it uses different renderings. So on Windows, it's using DirectX and stuff like that, but not really any different. All the libraries are basically the same. And I'm just careful about like which stuff I'm using. Like I don't use any Windows specific things. I'm using SDL2, which kind of like generalizes all that stuff, so I don't need to like think about how to open a window on Mac. I'm just, well, SDL2 handles that. So how long did it take to make this editor? Yeah, again, like it's kind of been like I started the editor while I started the game, so a year and a half, but it's just kind of slowly iterating on it. I don't work on the editor that often. Mostly I'm kind of like tinkering with the game, so the editor is just kind of like I just add stuff to it whenever I feel like I need new stuff. I'm gonna keep answering some questions and I'll actually start programming this, but yeah. Lots of old ID software games release the source code specifically while keeping the asset file proprietary, and it's meant a lot. Yeah, that's exactly what makes sense to me for this project. Like, if this game was not commercial, like if we don't sell it, then I'll just probably release the whole thing and whatever, like just everything. But if we decide to sell it, then I might do a thing where just all the code is on GitHub, and then the assets themselves are something you have to buy. And I mean, if people pirate it, like I don't care, like whatever. That'll always happen. So, but just as a general, like this is the stuff on GitHub, so you can see how it all works, and you can like compile it yourself. I think that would be really cool. Hey, Limelight, it's going good. Pretty good day. It's kind of not as rainy as yesterday. It's like yesterday it rained, like poured all day, so now it's kind of more like brighter out. It looks like it might rain again later, but it's good. Any thoughts on pixel art assets versus more traditional 2D art styles? I guess it depends on what you mean. Like I don't have any like strong opinion. Like I think both are just cool. It depends on the kind of art style you want. I often do like pixel art is something that it's more accessible, at least to me. It's more what I'm familiar with. So I find, especially if I'm doing the art in the game, which I am, or most of the art. My brother's actually collaborating on some of the art. He did this ghost sprite actually. But like the reason this game is pixel art is because I wanted to do something on my own for the most part, and I wanted to make it accessible to me. So that's kind of where I went with like I wanted limitations that I could do and do well, I felt like. So that's why there's like a color limitation. So there's only 4 colors per screen. It's pixel art and kind of low res, because that's something that I felt I could handle. But in terms of actual like what art styles I like, I'm pretty open to whatever. I like all 2D art quite a bit. Pixel art might be easier to manage because the assets are smaller, so I can like literally this game, like every time this game launches, like whenever I launch it again, it loads all the sprites and packs them, and it takes like it packs them all into a single atlas, and it takes a few milliseconds. Whoa, this command line is running really slow. I don't know if it's the stream or Windows or what. Anyways, so like it doesn't take very every single time the game loads, I just repack all the entire game into a single atlas. And I think I'll just do that up to like I don't think I'm ever going to change that because it's like on my computer this is in debug mode too. So in release mode this takes even less time. So it just doesn't matter. So that makes stuff pretty easy, just to be like, well, all the art assets just get thrown into one big atlas when the game boots. You couldn't do that if you're doing high-res art as easily. Maybe you could. I don't think you could though. Thanks. Glad they're relaxing. My experience is not artist pixel art. It's easier to work with both. Yeah, yeah. I think it's just pixel art is easier to kind of, yeah, build off of. Cool. So yeah, the thing I was gonna do with this is like, I was adding this lightning one, and I think what it'll do for the lightning one. So basically, I had these different routines. So like, I have states, which are just I could make this an enum, but it's not. And these different shoots, like these are almost like substates. So these are the main states, and these are like substates, kind of. So when the boss does a shoot, like this is the shooting routine. So like the first time he shoots, it does a staircase. Then it does a fast bullet, then a staircase, then a lightning, which I'm not. This is the one I'm going to add today. And then a staircase, and then a seeking shot, and then it repeats. So that's kind of, this is like the whole boss routine that it steps through. So then in the actual fighting update, it like increments which one it's doing. And then like here it actually switches between the different ones. Looking at this, I'm actually not sure why. Oh, shoot index increases by 1 first, so it actually starts at 0 and goes to this, which is kind of weird, but that actually makes sense. I feel like the shoot counter should actually be -1, and I should reverse these. Like it should be like this. Staircase, lightning, staircase, seeking shot, staircase, fast bullet, staircase, lightning, staircase, seeking shot, staircase. Yeah. But I think lightning I'm actually gonna move to the end. But let's try this quickly. Hey, thanks. Why does it keep opening the mod one now? Actually, I want to turn off the cutscene where it appears. I always forget how to do multi-line comments in Lua. I think it's like that. Or is it like? Never remember. I'm gonna try this. My thing is not like, it doesn't understand. Okay, I think that was right. Yeah, okay. I just didn't want to do the cutscene that. Okay, wait. It's not. Wait, it's starting a staircase now. That's wrong. Should do fast bullet first. Shoot index. Oh, I changed something. Oh, shoot counter. Oops. This one. Shoot index -1. Yeah, I mean, I really do like pixel art a lot, especially kind of retro pixel art. I'm a big fan of it in general. I just like that aesthetic a lot. Random question, but does Visual Studio natively support ligatures like you have for any font? No, it supports them for this font I'm using right now, but it actually doesn't fully support them. So like, it's doing them for like not equals and stuff. It does ligatures, and other ones it does, but then certain ones it doesn't. So this one it doesn't. And there's actually like a issue on like the Visual Studio like issue tracker thing, and the reason it doesn't support this isn't because of Visual Studio, but because of like some low level like Windows rendering thing that just is fucking broken. So anything that uses that, which Visual Studio does, just can't support certain ligatures. So like this font does have a ligature for this, but Visual Studio can't display it because they're using like Windows janky text editing thing for this text box. Whereas Visual Studio Code actually does, like if I use the same font in Visual Studio Code, it does support this ligature. So there's like an issue up. I was looking at it because I was curious. I was like, why is this not working? I thought my font was broken, but it's not. It's just Visual Studio only supports certain ligatures. I think it is Firacoda. Yeah, I believe I set it to that. Although I did update to 20. I'm actually trying out VS 2022 right now, and I'm not sure if it. I think it pulled my font over. Like I think it is using Firacoda, but I'm not sure. Okay, and now I'm just gonna. Okay, so the lightning state. I'm just gonna make it to the lightning state at least. I'm gonna start with lightning state just so that I can plan this out. So if it's lightning one, yeah. Yeah, Visual Studio is kind of a ridiculous, gigantic beast. How long did it take you to get comfortable with C++? Well, I've been coding a long time before then. I've been using C# a lot. And I'd done a little bit of C++ in the past, and I'd done some C in the past. So I'd say it took me like a few months, probably, like maybe like 6 months to kind of get used to it. Moving from other languages, there's a lot of stuff to get used to, and I'm still not totally in love with everything that I'm doing in it. But yeah, I'd say like 6 months or so before I was kind of like, okay, I'm comfortable, I know what I'm doing, I'm not constantly like messing up my memory stuff, like, yeah. But yeah, I don't love C++, honestly. I'm using it because I'm using it because it works on everything. It's compatible with everything. Every library in the world I can just like throw into my project and work with. And it compiles to consoles, and it's fast, and I can do whatever I want with my memory, which is all like good things. But the actual language I get really frustrated with sometimes. I don't know. Yeah. Do you draw sprites as their actual size and then scale everything up on a render target, or just scale things? No, I draw to a texture. It might be the stream, but the UI is all the same size. Well, okay, so this screen is different. Actually, when I'm here right now, okay, yeah. So when in this view, it is using a matrix. It's just scaling up whatever I draw on a matrix. Except when actually, it's kind of confusing. But like right now, these are all drawn. Like each one of these is their own little render target or their own little texture, and which is why like some of these look kind of gnarly because they're being drawn to it. Like the texture isn't actually this big. It doesn't let the texture get too big because otherwise I'd have too many gigantic textures. But so here, these are all drawn to a texture first, and then I'm just drawing single textures. And then when I click on one to edit it, now it's drawing it not as a texture, but as just like, it's just using a matrix and scaling them up. So in this view, it's all like, yeah, it draws them just at their size, but scaled up with a matrix. And then when I'm playing the game, like here, this is all drawn to a buffer first, and then the buffer is scaled up. So like, it might be hard to see in the stream, but like this stuff is snapped to pixel grid. I don't know exactly what it's hard to see because the edges are all the same color, but like it's snapped to a pixel grid because it's drawn to a texture. Yeah, a texture first and then scaled up. So the HUD and stuff is the same resolution as the player and everything. Are you using any kind of engine? No, I'm just using my own. It's on GitHub, the stuff I have set up for this. So it's in the video description there, or the video there somewhere on my video, beside the chat, which is what I'm using to kind of render stuff and everything. But it's just like my own little thing I don't super advise using it. It's just kind of like, here's the thing I set up, and you can take a look. But yeah. How long did it take me to make blah? Yeah, I kind of transfer stuff faster from it. It took me. That's the thing, like the same thing where like it's hard to gauge because like for it itself, like I don't know, a few months of just kind of tinkering around, and not full time, just kind of messing with it. But I've written multiple engines before. I've coded my own games from scratch before. I know OpenGL like pretty well. I know DirectX now. Okay, so like I kind of had a large foundation of like what I want in an engine to be able to build off of. So it didn't take me too long, but it was a lot of iteration, I guess. And like I've been coding this kind of stuff for many years. So the end result doesn't take that long, but I've been kind of like, yeah, learning about it for a long time. if that makes sense. Okay, so actually here, if the routine is this is where the ghost teleports to, and if it's going to do the lightning one, I want it to teleport to the center. I'm just gonna see if that looks okay. So now in theory, you should do the lightning one first, and all it'll do right now is teleport to the center of the top center of its region. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so then from there, and then it goes into other routines. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm like typing really hard, and my camera's like on arms. Like it's attached my monitor. My monitor's on an arm, so it's like shaking. Sorry. And I'm typing really hard. We'll have a leveling up system in this game. No, there's not gonna be leveling up, but there are upgrades. So, yeah, like these different upgrades. I just call them equipment right now. So it's more like Link's Awakening kind of, or a Zelda game, I guess. So right here, what I want to do, I want to do some kind of effect, but for now, I want to do some kind of effect where it looks like it's pulling the light out of the stone lights. But I think to start, what I'll do is I'll just turn the stone lights off. So it'll teleport up there. And then wait it'll wait a second, and then it'll, now I'll loop through all the stone lights that I have, which I think I'm storing somewhere. How did I get those before? Oh, I think they're in my objective listener component. Yeah, okay, so I can loop through my objective listener and get all the stone lights because it's waiting for those. Now I'm noticing that I shake the screen so much when I'm typing. I can fix that for next screen. So wait, this thing has stuff now for like the objective, so I need to loop over these and unset them. Okay, so this should now turn off the lights again. Yeah, making your own engine is really overwhelming, I think. And I really enjoy doing it, but it's not like I do it because I really enjoy learning that stuff and I really enjoy like the process and all that. But I have if all you want to do is just like make a game and like finish it and stuff, then like making your own engine might not be the best route to doing that. So yeah, it's basically what you're excited about, and yeah, it takes a lot of time to kind of learn that stuff. How did I learn to code? I learned to code with GameMaker. So I started with GameMaker when I was like 11, 12, 13. And then from there, I kind of just like, because GameMaker has like drag and drop, so you can like drag and drop commands in and do stuff. And then over time, I was like, well, I need to do stuff that's more complicated than drag and drop. So I slowly started copying, pasting different bits of code in. And then from there, I started learning other languages. I started learning web dev stuff, which at the time was like PHP. So I learned a lot of PHP. And then I learned like ActionScript for making Flash games. And then I learned C# for making like desktop games. And it kind of like, yeah, spiraled from there. So like, started with GameMaker though. I'm not using a library for ECS. I'm just doing my own thing. It's really simple. Yeah, I just have a component, like a world class that has, that's not a world class. I have a world class that has a list of components in it, and they're sorted by their class type, and then entities have components on them. But it's not like, it's pretty simple. It's not super robust. I actually have on GitHub kind of a basic version of it. If you look at my like tiny link GitHub, it's like a little video game I made on stream, and the world component system in that game is really similar to what I'm doing for this. So yeah, it's quite similar. I mean, I started when I was pretty young, but I think you learn a lot slower. Like I started like, yeah, when I was 12, 13, but I learned on my own, kind of like, in my own like spare time, because when you're a kid you have school and stuff. So I don't think I learned like a lot until I was probably older. Like it took a long time to kind of get anywhere when I was like 13, tinkering around in GameMaker. And yeah, it's like I have lots of friends who didn't start programming and stuff until they were much older, in their 40s and stuff. Well, much older than a 13-year-old. 40 isn't that old still. Okay, so we turn off the lights. And then when the lights are off, I need to do a routine here that's like, I want the... okay. After this happens, I actually want the ghost to become invisible, but not until it does the lightning attack. So basically it's going to suck out the light out of the stone lights. Then it's going to do lightning attack. And then until the stone lights are turned back on, it's going to become invisible. But I think during the actual lightning attack, it should be visible still. So I think I'm going to add a bool for like, not visible. Or, hidden, I guess? I don't know. Whatever. Hidden is what it's going to be. And then in theory, this will turn on, like, once these symbols are turned off, it'll set them hidden true. And then I think what happens, like, this objective will trigger again in theory, which will call appear. Which, like, so in this case, I don't want it to reset. So the first time it appears, it actually like goes into the appearing state. But like once it appears again, like if it turns out the lights, then you turn them back on. I don't want it to like reset to its original state. It should just keep doing what it's doing. And then here, we're gonna say if, actually, and hidden's gonna start screwed. Up here, hidden is false. This should just always be false then. I think I'll just do it with this. And then here we're gonna say, I need another bool for it for teleporting, because when we're teleporting, I don't want it to fade in by accident. So like right here, appearing is fine. I didn't update. So right here, it's going to say teleporting through. When it starts, oops, oh my goodness. This is when it starts teleporting, I think. I'll set it to here actually. And then moves to a new position, and then it fades back in, and then here is when M teleporting is now false. Okay, so then if we're in fighting state and we're not teleporting, and we are hidden, and okay, then we'll say right alpha approach, right alpha M hidden 0 or 1, something like that. Yeah, I think this makes sense. So when you turn off the lights, then will become hidden, and then we'll wait for the lights to get turned on. There's a case here where like if you turn the lights on really fast, so if this actually like waited a bit before M hidden is true, then you can turn the lights on before this gets set to true, and then that causes problems, but that's okay. I think I'll come back to that problem. Looking at using original component system, it's very easy to implement, no complicated ECS stuff. It's not really ECS. Yeah, mine isn't quite it's not a true ECS. Like if you look up Wikipedia definition of an ECS, mine is not that either. Mine is much closer to the Unity implementation, which is like a world, and then there's entities, components, and entities are basically entities are kind of close to what a true ECS is. They're kind of just an ID with a list of components attached to them. My entities also have a position because it's a 2D game. Every entity needs a 2D position. Like it's just everything has that. So it seems weird not including that. So my entities have a position. And then after that, components are both the behavior and the state. So in like a true ECS, components are just state. They're just variables. And then systems are the things that run over components and actually perform behavior. Whereas mine are more like the Unity versions where like components have state and behavior. Because I find that easier for a certain scale of game. I think if your games get really big or really systems heavy, then all of a sudden it makes more sense to have components just be state. But for my purposes, like it's really fast to just like, oh, I need an animator component and it's going to animate stuff, and I don't need a system to run the animations and so on. Yeah. Okay, this should turn it back off. And then its light is still on, but it's kind of fun. Maybe I'll leave it like that. And then if I turn these back on, oh my god, why did I do 2 of those in a row? Oh, it keeps going. Okay, I need to turn it back on again. What the fuck? Oh my god. It keeps turning off the lights really fast. Okay, this routine is really hard actually. And now, so why is it not visible right now? Okay, that's something really weird's happening. State is equal to fighting state, and we're not teleporting. For hidden or alpha approaches 0, that seems fine. That seems correct to me. Appearing state's fine. Fighting setup, fighting state update. So here we're saying teleporting is true, so it should not be happening, and teleporting is false. This is strange. Yeah, ECS, the data ends up being more like in a linear fashion. So all your components data is like in a single straight buffer in theory. So like all of your animation components are like one gigantic buffer, and then it just like steps through all of those like, and the memory's all like in a coherent like single list. Whereas if you're iterating over different components, different types, and all over the place, it's like the point, like the memory is all over the place, so it's jumping around. Like the actual CPU is jumping around in different places for memory. Um, but again, like for a pixel art platformer, it really doesn't matter. Like those kind of things that you should care about are like that really starts mattering for very systems heavy games that have like a lot of systems all running and it needs to be performant. Or like big games. That's when that stuff starts really mattering. And then it's nicer for parallelization as well. Like you can run different component or different systems in parallel, so that you could, and then they all just like stepping over their own memory and doing their thing, and then at the end they combine to some like final update or whatever. But it's nicer for larger, more complicated projects. But for me, who's making like a dumb, tiny platformer, it's kind of overkill, I think. At least for how my brain works. I like working on stuff like this. There's one thing I don't love about the system, and it's like you end up with like a system is a really nice place for things where multiple components interacting exists. Because right now, if I have two components that interact, such as like a damager and a damaged listener, so something that gets like something that performs damage and then something that receives damage, where does the code live to do the damage? So it could either live in the damager, or it could live in the damage listener. And it kind of could exist in both. Whereas if you have a system, like a component, like a true ECS, there'd be like a damaging system that like loops over all the damagers and loops over all the listeners and performs the actual damage there in a nice cohesive way. And then there's no idea of like, well, okay, I need to find the code where damage happens. Like, is it in the thing that does damage, or is it in the thing that receives damage? Like, or is it in a bit of both? Like the damager tells the damager that it. So I like, that's one thing I like about ECS, is that it has like a coherent place for like, here's the system that is a combination of these components interacting together, which is I think really cool. Do I know how to make a smart contract for a blockchain? No, I have no idea. I don't care about blockchain. Do you gonna add other new worlds to the game, or are you basically good with it? Yeah, I think this game is going to have one world. Like, it's just going to be this world, and it's going to be just run around in here for this thing. And then I'd like to, like, I want to add mod support so people can make their own little worlds if they so choose to. I have no idea if people will want to mod this game or make their own little like levels, but I'd like to allow for that. But the actual like, when you download and play the game, it's just going to be this one world. Because I think for the scope, the scope of this game is already like way bigger than I thought it would be. So I just want to finish this one world and then call it there. Okay, so then why? So that's, it turns out the lights, and then it becomes invisible, which is fine. Ugh, this is really weird. Okay. I think part of the problem... So I need to change this, because this is actually... It shouldn't fade in here, but it should still wait. Again, right here. I think this should help fix it. I had an issue where it was kind of like fading in and out even though it was supposed to be hidden. Okay, there it turns on the lights, becomes invisible. Yeah, I should still teleport around. Yeah, and do stuff. and then it should turn. Oh, the lights are still out actually. Okay, so they'll turn out the lights again, even though they're already out. But yeah, now I turn the lights on. Okay, so wait, I'm gonna turn the lights on. The lights are now on, and it doesn't get. Oh, is my objective? So this is the thing. Like, I think my objective code is not running. So like the code that says like is listening for the lights to turn on. I feel like this code, listener on complete. Like this is not being called anymore. Why it's not being called anymore? This is not Visual Studio. Like, hey, go to the update function of this, and it's like, oh, you mean the update function of something completely different? Like I hit F12 on this update function, which is an objective listener, F12, and it goes to the cat ghost up. It's like, no, that's, thank you for trying, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. Oh, okay, so when the objective is marked complete, it turns off the component. So this is kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, for now, I'm just gonna ignore this problem by turning the component back on, but it's kind of unintuitive that like the objective gets completed and then the component stops working. So like here, I need to say like listener, enable this true, because it was actually turned off before, which is, yeah, counterintuitive. We'll see if this idea even makes sense. Like turning out the lights and becoming invisible might just be too weird. Okay, now it's back. Wait, why did it turn off the light? Lights. Now it's back. Right, now it turns the lights. So yeah, it's turning off the lights really fast. So like realistically, I think what needs to happen is my routine needs to be way longer, because it like, oh, I have lightning shoot twice here. This is why it's really confusing. So I have it at the start, and then I have it like right away. I think realistically what I want is to do fast bullet, staircase, fast bullet, staircase, seeking shot, staircase, and then lightning, and then staircase. So fast bullet, staircase, seeking, and then staircase, and then lightning, and then staircase. And then lightning is going to be skipped. Like if the lights are still out, it'll skip this routine. With all that routine stuff, yeah. So basically like it's I explained this previous streams, but this is basically a giant switch statement. And I'm using it kind of as a coroutine, because C++ 17 does not have coroutines. C++ 20 does, but I'm using C++ 17 right now. So basically this is my like simple hacky solution to coroutines. And there's actually there's alternatives to this that are probably better, but this is basically a switch statement. So it's macros for a switch statement that just makes it really easy. So like instead of me doing like switch index, case 0, do something, and then like case 1, do something else, and then so on and so forth until like, in like, oh, like a set of time. And I'm not explaining this great, but like, yeah, it's basically a wrapper around doing this so that I don't have to like manually think about like what index I'm at. I just can kind of write them and it goes to the next index automatically. And I can say like, I can do wait statements, so I can say RT wait like 1.0, and then it automatically like it wraps this code. Like this is kind of equivalent to like if there was like if timer is larger than 0, timer minus time delta, else do this stuff, and then the wait function is kind of like case 7 or whatever. It'll say like, oh, wait time like timer is equal to 1.0, and then the next case is 1 or whatever, and then yeah, this is, so it wraps this kind of thing where just so I don't have to think about all this kind of code every time. It's just much simpler for me. But ultimately, it's a giant switch statement. Macros for a giant switch statement. And it's kind of ugly and kind of weird, but I find it easiest that way. I don't know if Randy's still there, but Randy was showing me some code. It was a while ago now, but they were actually implementing like proper coroutine stuff, like an actual like it returns to the stack, like to the function in the stack where it was and stuff like that, which looked really cool. But I haven't actually messed with that, but it looked really cool. It was actually doing some assembly stuff to make that happen, but yeah, I'm not using that right now. Have I tried the new time lapse features? Yeah, it looks. I tried it a little bit. Seems very cool, but I haven't like properly gone through it yet. I've just kind of like messed around with it a little bit, but yes, it looks really cool. So actually, before we go to the lightning state, then like I need to do a thing where here, if we're still hidden. So wait, if m if shooting routine shoot index is equal to lightning shoot, I'm just gonna end we're hidden. Then shoot index, just gonna increment again. And then I need to do this check again. It's kind of annoying. Like, it's kind of weird. I don't like having code like that. Skip lightning. I should zoom in a bit. I just realized I usually zoom in for screens a bit. Oh, skip lightning attack if you. Yeah. Okay. Now, I mean, I'm gonna add the lightning back to the start. I actually want to. That's the thing I want to test right now. Yeah, I think this boss fight's gonna be like really hard again, actually, because of all the stuff it does. Like, it's gonna turn off the lights really soon again already. Okay, so that's pretty difficult. I feel like realistically, I don't know. I kind of like duplicate this. Like, the lightning one shouldn't happen that often. So, yeah, like I don't want the lightning to happen super frequently. So I might end up like this shooting routine might get really long. I guess it is doing it twice. Like, it's doing it twice in a row because I'm just testing it. So maybe I should get rid of that. Oh no, because I want to actually implement the lightning attack now. The other thing I want to do quickly though is I want to make the light fade out. And then here the light fading in and out is not hidden. Actually, I don't think I need this teleporting thing because it already checks to see like it's not hidden. So this doesn't need to exist. I don't need this teleporting check at all. Maybe I'll need it back later, but I think I don't need it right now. Yeah, and then here I want to fade the lights in and out. Or the ghost light, so you can kind of still see it, like where it is. Do we consider my tiles entities? No. Tiles, well, no, like individual tiles are not entities. There's a single entity for the entire grid. So like when the game is created, it creates an entity for like, I think it's called like solid or something. And then it places like it adds like a tile set to that entity. So tile sets are like a kind of a component. But entities themselves are not, like, there's not an individual entity per tile. Okay, the other thing is, like, normally when you'd be in this fight, you actually do not have the lantern yet, because this fight is the fight that gives you the lantern. So normally you would not have a light yourself. So when it turns out the lights, it becomes like this, which is, okay, this is actually going to be brutal then. Like, you can't see anything. So, I don't know, this might be too difficult. Might be a fun idea that's just, like, too brutal. But if it doesn't do it often, it might be okay. I think in general I need to slow the pace of the fight down. Like, it's really hard to, like I'm gonna have to, like, tweak all the time using stuff here. Like, this is brutal. Like, now I'm just gonna get hit by random stuff that I can't see because it's completely dark. Ow. Wait, now it's not... Okay, so wait, why is it not fading in and out anymore? It's just teleporting around. Does this not work? Oh, no problem on the ETS conversation. Thanks. Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I don't know why it's not fading in and out anymore. It should be, if I'm not hidden, I fade out. Maybe this RT4 is broken? Repeat time. Yeah, it should be fine. Sorry, this doesn't look like it makes much sense, but this looks fine to me though. Yeah, I might make the projectiles glow. Why is it not fading in and out? That's so weird. Oh, wait. Right, okay. I do need the teleporting boolean. Because now it's just like always on or off. This is like fighting with it. Okay, so my bad. I do need the teleporting bool. My bad. Yeah, the only reason I'm doing the lightning one at the start is to test it. But I think what'll happen, I think what I ideally will do here, I think what makes a lot of sense is having lightning, like doing something like this where it does all this stuff and then lightning is like once kind of at the very end, like this, probably like this actually. And then this only happens if the lights are on, so it'll do like a lot of other stuff, and then it'll do the lightning one. I think that makes sense. I don't like this is called shoot. This should be like subroutine or something, but whatever. Fast bullet, staircase, fast bullet, staircase. Oh my god, get out of here. Seeking shoot, staircase, fast bullet, staircase, fast bullet, staircase, seeking shoot, staircase, and then lightning shoot. Like, I think that actually makes sense to me. So there's a lot of, I mean, it might be kind of, we'll see. Yeah, I'll have to mess around with this and see how it feels. But you won't have the lantern here. Whoops. Right, so then it turns up the lights. Oh, its own bullets to turn on the lights. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, that feels pretty good. And then you have the lantern, so now you can see in the dark. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. So the lightning one, I just actually need to implement that attack now. Yep. After that, a few more lines of dialogue, and then it'll be done. So I actually haven't thought about how I want to do the lightning attack. It's probably gonna like charge up and then. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought this far ahead yet. I guess the first thing I want to do is actually draw the lightning bolt thing, which I'll probably make as a component, like a lightning component that you can add and tell to like do stuff. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah, I'm gonna start with that anyways. I mean, yeah, no, I'll just add any lightning component. I don't know if anything else will ever use this. I don't remember how to do this. Probably shouldn't use namespaces in header files, but I don't care. Okay. So this updates. Please care. Nah. I will for everything, but this one I don't. This is the only one I use in header files because it's like, yeah, my like core game engine thing. But yes, generally speaking, I care. I think I went from actually I guess enable can just decide whether it's displaying or not. Hey, not much. I'm working on some lightning right now. See, like, I don't understand. Hit control dot, declaration functions. Visual Studio says it's fine, and then there's nothing. But yeah, regarding namespaces and header files, I would never do it in like any kind of big project, or any, like, I don't use it for any other namespaces. The only one I use it for is the my core engine namespace, which like every header file just uses it because like I know exactly what's in this one. But yeah, and I just don't want to do this everywhere. But generally speaking, I agree. But as the sole programmer, at some point it's like the sole programmer on our project, and like, yeah, whatever. I coded the library I'm importing too, so it's not like, yeah. But yes, I agree with you. Okay, relative false. Okay, so then what do I want this to actually look like? I'll do some other stuff here in a second. For now, let me just draw a line. And then if anyway, I can get my entity transform. Okay. So I won't update it yet. I'll figure this out. So what I'm going to end up doing is it's going to create like a bunch of lines that go down. The other bad thing I'm doing in C++ right now is like this, well, quote unquote bad, I guess, like, is like the entities are all just declared in header files because each entity type is only imported in a single translation unit. So I know I can just like code them in a header file and it's fine because they're never included anywhere else. But in principle, like, I should not be coding this entire entity in its header file. But it's like, again, another thing that was just kind of easier. So it's like all these entities are just header files because they're only included one time in this like factory thing. But it's another case of like this code here looks kind of weird because it's just all like inline like code in C++. Yeah, I mean, I really don't like macros in general, but there's a few cases where I just like for this, I really want them just because I just don't want to code this in like I don't want a gigantic switch statement, and it gets annoying for me. And the other thing I use it for is I use macro, like, what's it called? Like, I can't remember what it's called, but like, actually here I'm using macros. I really don't need them for this. This just felt easier. But I use macros, I think. I don't know, actually, in this project I don't think I do, but for like, wait, do I? I'm trying to think. I sometimes use macros. I can't. It's called X macros, like or something like that, where like you define a list of things, and then you define what the list implementation is at the point that you use the macro, and then you can change it to do whatever you want. So I use that sometimes for like very specific things. But otherwise, I don't really think I use macros that much. Macros are really potentially, I guess, oh, this is a macro, because this defines, like for component type, it defines all this stuff, and I don't want to have to do this every single time. So this is like, yeah, makes that a lot cleaner for me. And this makes it less error prone, because I need all this stuff for every single component type, but I don't want to like type this every time. Okay. Hey Chevy, hope you're doing well. And yeah, that's true too for C++. Yeah, I have a lot of frustrations with C++. There's stuff I really like. There's stuff I really like with C++. I like kind of how it lets you do whatever you want, and I enjoy that. But on the other hand, it lets you do whatever you want, and it turns into a disaster. Oh yeah, cool, Chevy. I have not seen Crystal. I have not heard of that even. The next languages I wanted to check out immediately were Zig and Rust are the two that I really want to like mess around with at some point that I haven't had the time to mess around with. But I'll check that out. This sounds. Is it what makes Crystal cool? So I'm gonna wait, and then I'm gonna do. Did I include lightning? I don't think I did. Let's try this again. If I destroy these inline in a loop, is it gonna explode? I don't know, it should not. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Lightning does stuff, lightning gets destroyed. Lightning should actually only exist for a very short amount of time. And I need to move lightning back up to the start so I can actually see what happens. You like the union types, it's like a dynamic programming language with really good typing. Oh, okay, cool. I've actually never used Python. I see it around a lot. It seems good for like... Okay. So in theory, the lightning works, so now I just need to make it actually do stuff, which is going to be interesting. You don't like Python though? It's very quick to... Yeah, it seems like a nice way to kind of quickly do stuff to me. Like, it's like... Yeah, like you can just like, there's no compile time or anything. You're just, it's really nice for just like writing generic like tooling stuff. Seems really nice. Okay. So now I want to actually draw this lightning in an interesting way that doesn't look bad. So I'm gonna have a vector of points. The points. Actually, maybe I think I might want to draw lightning every frame randomly. I'm not going to store the points because I want them to be dynamic if it moves around. So instead I'm just going to have a simple random thing. Where does it take the seed? So I'm going to reset my random seed. Actually, I don't even need to store this because this can just be set based on the seed every frame. So I'm going to only update my seed, my random. I guess I do need... I'll explain what I'm doing in a second. Okay, so what I'm doing with the lightning, I thought anyways, is that I'm gonna have a random seed that is only updated every, it should probably be more than this, 0.05. Every few frames the seed gets changed. And then I use a random thing based on that seed. So basically the lightning isn't, I'm going to just draw the lightning randomly every frame, so it goes like this. But I'm not going to update it every frame, because if I update it every frame, it's going to be like moving around really fast. And I want the lightning to kind of be like a static thing that like doesn't shift really fast. So what I'm using is a seed that changes only every a certain amount of frames, like every 5 frames or 4 frames or something. There's like 3 frames maybe. And then using a random number generator, very simple random number generator to like only, so it's the same every few frames. So I can do this inline without having to store points and stuff, but it's going to be the same for a few frames, and then it'll shift. Is my thought. Hey, it's going good. Hope it's going well with you. So now what I'm going to do is head back to from I already have, so I can call it that. Add it to from, and then well add exotic to and now actually wait, I don't want to do this. I think I want to affect at is going to move along in a linear way. So approach, and this is going to be kind of slow, but whatever. 2 delta can be 8, something like that. So it's going to approach at, or it's going to at is going to approach 2. So you actually need to do that first. And then auto next is going to equal at, I want the normal as well, or the perpendicular. So I want 2 minus from dot normal turn right perpendicular. So now we're going to at plus RNG ran next float. I don't know, 0 to negative 8 to 8. Let's try that. Times the perpendicular. I guess I can write that overload. So perpendicular like that. And then last is going to equal next like this. And then we're going to draw a line here from last to okay. I'm going to make this 2. So what this is going to do is going to move toward, like, from the line to the end line and just draw points kind of like this. And this isn't going to be like super good. I think what I actually want to do is also do dot explode, which is going to be anywhere from like 4 to 32. Like that. Yeah, turn left and turn right actually just do that inside them. Oop. Okay, that's pretty good. That's like a starting point anyways. Interesting, okay. Skew, huh. That's cool, I didn't know it was called that. But what a random between 5 and 10 frames, that could look cool. Yeah, yeah, totally. I think it's kind of being inspired by that a little bit. Not super intentionally, but the more I go, the more it's kind of like that. Because it's like, also like the lights, like the later Ganon fight, like he turns out the lanterns, you need to turn them back on, otherwise you can't see him, which is like pretty similar to this. But that's fun. I'm into it, whatever. Now I think what I want to do is actually multiple lines. So I'm gonna add like a it's gonna draw 2 lines, one really thick and one really thin, which I think is what I want. It'll make it look more like a thing. And I might even make them smaller because there might be 2. Yeah, okay, that's what I want. And I think they're actually a bit too fast. I think I want to make this a bit higher, 0.7. Yeah, thin, wide, thin. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I should lerp it in and out as it approaches, because then it'll, yeah. And I might do that with the line and weight as well. So maybe here, -8 to 8. Auto long. I don't know what to call this. Whatever. This is a bad variable name. Long. Which is going to be. Oh man. Actually, okay. No, I should call this long. And then this is the step amount. And then we're going to say along plus equals step. Maybe I'll do along this step right here. And then auto percent is going to be long length. And then, now I can use the percentage to do the thing that we're talking about. So okay, so now percent I can use here. Now I can multiply this by like 8 and then times. And I need the stupid, like a cube in out thing or whatever. I've always thought there's a better way to do this, but like, percent small ones 3.5. We'll do percent 2. Otherwise, we do percent minus 0.5. I guess how it is. This way, if it's like less than 0.5, it goes from 0 to 1, and then from 0.5, it goes from 1 to. This is wrong. This is wrong. So 0.5 to 0.5 times 2, so it's like 1.0f minus this. I think so. Then it's like it's larger than 0.5. It'll be 0.5 times 2, which is 1 minus 1. Why am I doing minus 1? That'll go from 0 to, that's my brain. Why am I having a hard time with this? Percent times 0.2, so it'll be 0.5. Oh god. Why am I having a hard time with this? Percent minus 0.5 times 2, that seems correct. And then minus, and 1 minus, so it'll be start at 1. Okay, go to 0. Yeah, that's correct. This is ugly as fuck though. Maybe a better way to write that. Whatever, fuck it. Try that. Oh, I'm missing chat. I wonder like maybe visible for more than 2 frames at a time, at least flickering between shape changes. Yeah, that's a cool idea, Float Void. Possible scissor box to make it look like when you crawl across the screen first. Oh yeah, that's a good idea too. Why not C# right now? Mostly because I want, like, C# currently has a hard time compiling to consoles, and I just wanted to be able to like write stuff to consoles myself really easily. And that's the main reason why, for me, I really just wanted to be able to like write stuff on the consoles myself. I like that idea of it turning invisible and invisible. So I'm gonna try that in a second. Try this. Alright, overly complicated what I want to do, but whatever. So timer is larger than 0.5, then we turn off. I guess I should do this here just so it's more consistent feeling. Okay, I'll try that. So they're called ligatures, and I'm using a font called Thera Code, I believe. But it actually, Visual Studio is actually kind of broken with them, so it does some of them okay. So like larger and equal to, it does them, but other ones it does not. So it doesn't do this one, for example. In this font, this one is like a single character, and it doesn't do it. Because I said this earlier in stream, but like the way Visual Studio has like, it uses the text rendering from like a Microsoft thing, like a window, like a low-level Windows text rendering that doesn't do ligatures properly. It's broken. So at some point they'll fix it, but they have to fix it like on a Windows level. So other programs do it fine. Like Visual Studio Code does display ligatures properly, so it displays this as the proper character because it's not using the Windows text rendering, whereas Visual Studio, whatever this is, Visual Studio is using like the Windows text rendering, so it's broken. But yeah, they're called ligatures if you want to look them up or find a font that uses them. Yeah, that's feeling pretty cool. Okay. Cool. Okay, so now I just want the weight of the E's to be a bit less. I want to be like 0 point less. This is just my hacky math in here, just looking ugly as fuck. Yeah. Okay. This is some ugly shit. Whatever. Okay, so now if I want to move it along, my audio is low? Oh, sorry, yeah, I can, if it's sounding low, oh, actually, I can't turn up here, but I wonder if I can, like, turn my gain up a bit, see if that's any better, and I'll just move my microphone closer, so hopefully I'm talking into it better. I'm kind of, like, my microphone's over here, so then I'm talking, like, to the right constantly, so hopefully that makes it better. Okay, cool. Okay, sweet, thank you. I think my stream delay is higher. I wonder if I can change the settings in Twitch to make my stream delay lower. Anyways, whatever. Yeah, okay, this is feeling pretty good. The next thing I want to do, I think, This might be too much. This might be I'm thinking about making the screen palette flash, but I'm realizing that might be seizure inducing. I'm gonna try it really lightly though. Flash the palette for a given amount of time. I'm gonna try it, but I have a percent of this, right? Strength, okay, yeah. I mean, it's not on stream, it shouldn't be too bad because I'm gonna do it lightly, but yeah. I mean, I think this game's gonna have to have a seizure option, or a color sensitive option, or a lighting sensitive option anyways. Wait, am I doing this backwards? Which is light color? I think I want this one to be dark. This to be light. But I think if I make this like not super strong, it should be okay. The 0.3 is like how strong of a shift it does in the palette, so I'm not like doing a hardcore like hard shift here. Oops. Yeah, I'll try this. This might look really bad. We'll see. Delay is like 3 seconds. Okay, cool. Yeah, that shouldn't be too strong. Oh yeah, that wasn't that strong at all. That could be way higher. And then I feel like I just want to do it. Maybe lightning should be doing this. Like I could do this from the lightning thing. It means any lightning that happens will do this, but I think that makes sense anyways. Yeah, this might be too. We'll see if this is too strong, but I really don't want to like destroy people's eyeballs. But yeah, I guess as I test this, if you are sensitive to that stuff, be warned, I guess. Yeah, that seems kind of hardcore on the eyeballs. I think I'm gonna reduce this a bit. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna add a setting anyways to be like, hey, like turn off hardcore light stuff. That didn't feel so bad. I think in general the lighting, like but it's kind of hurts my eyeball. Like the fact that it's like going on and off constantly is kind of weird. Thanks. Yeah, I think that's. I'm gonna leave it like that for now, but I'm gonna also change. This happens for too long. It'd be like 0.3. It should not happen for very long. And also, I do like the idea of the lightning like going to the end. Okay, wait. That's not feel like it's. Oh, I'm changing the. Oh, it's happening for 2 seconds. Oh, this way here doesn't make any. Oh no, this way here should be here, but this should be way shorter. Okay, okay, that's why it was going on for so long. I mean, that's good for testing, I guess. The other thing I want to do is make it so the lightning actually affects the shadows, which it does not right now, and it should, I feel like. So where do I draw the shadows? I draw that just like I should have a system for this, but I'm just doing it in the light. So like right here I draw lights, and now I'm gonna draw Oh hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's not prolonging and it's a tint, so it's not a hard flash. And then yeah, I mean honestly, I think like I'm just gonna add a setting to this game at some point for like photosensitive mode that just turns that stuff off. Because I think basically any screen flashing effects of any kind, like there's gonna be people who have a hard time with it. Like I do if it's like hardcore, so I like options like that. So I'll definitely be adding that regardless. Um, okay, so for the gameplay to draw this, it's just gonna draw a rectangle or a quad. It's gonna draw two quads, I think. Yeah, it's just gonna draw two gradient quads, I believe. I think that makes sense. I guess I could just do this through the lightning could just render itself. I could just say, hey, lightning, draw your I'm gonna do this so the lightning gets to do it. Void render lightning. I just need to remember, I think the color for the lighting, I think white or black, yeah, it's the inverse of what I think. So black is light and white is not. Like, I don't know what Visual Studio is doing here. This clearly has class. Render lighting. Okay, so this is where I could actually move this into like a... Like, I could draw the exact line, but I think I won't. I think for now I'll just draw... I think that actually simplifies it. Let's move this here. Game can just not have to check for that. This can delete this now. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll just draw two quads. So I need the perpendicular. And then dash.quad. What is going to be from... yeah, I guess from... I'll do from minus perpendicular. From to minus perpendicular, and colors are going to be, so the colors at perpendicular transparent. So this doesn't make much sense. It will make sense soon. And I want two of these, and then this one's going to go the other way, so but it's properly. So from plus perp plus perpendicular to 2. So it's from to perpendicular to like that. And then this is going to be black, transparent, and black. And then perpendicular needs to be expanded, so it's going to be like times 2-ish. I don't know, that's good, but try that. Okay, so that should draw lights. So it's drawing like two gradients outwards from the light in a straight line. So it's not actually following the lighting exactly. But it should work for this use case. We'll see. Maybe it won't work, and then I'll have to change it. But and maybe I'll have to draw the actual lighting on the... That didn't seem to work at all. It did nothing. Oh, relative. I didn't do the relative check. Is entity dot matrix not constant? Why is this not constant? How is this not constant? Oh, see, yeah, it's not constant because it potentially updates itself. See, this is the thing where in C++, like, I want this to basically be constant. Like, it does change the values, but it only changes them if it's like it's basically constant, but it's not because it actually does modify. So by, I guess. Whatever, it doesn't matter for this. Because this check isn't really modifying the entity, it's just, it's like if the entity is previously been modified, then it performs the matrix update there. I mean, okay, that looked like it worked pretty well. In my opinion. I can use mute keyword or something inside const. Wait, so inside my, inside this, I can say like mutable or something? Or like const. Like if this function was const, I can't do mutable stuff in here, right? What the fuck? What the fuck does C++? I don't know how C++ works. What? Oh, what the fuck? So wait, I can say matrix is mutable and dirty is mutable? Is this like I can say like this shit? This is a thing that exists in this language. What the fuck? Okay, I did not know about this. Oh my god. This changes everything. I hate const less now. What the fuck? I didn't know. How did I not know about this? I don't know how. What the fuck? Okay, cool, sweet, thank you. I don't know how I didn't know about this. It's ridiculous. Okay, sweet. Well, that changes a lot of stuff in my head now. That's like good. That was like my complaint with. Yeah, C++ like every single day. What the fuck? Okay, awesome. Thank you. That helps me. Now my code actually makes better sense. Because yeah, like rendering lightning should be const, but like it couldn't be because this wasn't const, but this is only not const because it like, yeah, potentially updates these. But these are only being updated because it was like changed in a non-const situation. So it's just like only updating these because it's faster to like only redo it when it needs to. So this makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Received the cell types for doing this because it came up against the same. Okay, so yeah. Okay, well, there we go. Learned something new. I've literally never seen mutable on a key, like on a member like that, like a member field like that. I just did not know that existed. It's good to know. Makes my table weird though. I don't even know why this is set up like this. Like, because it doesn't really matter. Nothing else in my entire like. I never do this anywhere else. I'm doing it here. Oh, it's still wrong. Okay. Cool. That's hilarious. Sweet. Okay, so now the lightning attack actually needs to do something. Like, it doesn't hurt you yet. And I don't know if I like, is it just always going to be the same? Like, just goes there and does that. Also, why is it weird when like... Oh, I see. I feel like I might want to make the lightning like do other stuff. I don't know. Like maybe he should shoot like a few of the lightning beams that like kind of follow you. That might be cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm happy with them. They're kind of janky. Like they're not as good as your like your actual coroutines that actually like I looked at well you linked it to me a long time ago with your actual coroutine stuff that it actually like modifies the stack or like drops back in, and that stuff's really cool. This is still just using my like kind of janky switch statement thing, but it's functional enough for what I'm doing. I feel like they should be called code instead of our routine, whatever. That's true. Yeah, that's the main reason I was sticking with this, is just because I haven't tried that stuff on other platforms yet. But I mean, if it just works, then whatever. Yeah, I think I might make these lightning bolts just like follow the player. And I feel like they need to give a warning about where they're going to shoot as well. Like they can't just be like completely random. So like here it would shoot a single lightning bolt. That, and then otherwise is this. It destroys all lightnings, which is gonna be wrong. So that. Oh wait, this needs to like delay it though, because it's gonna shoot the player immediately. I'll leave this like this for a second, but it needs to quite be like that. This is actually not gonna be right. I just need to see what this looks like, but this is gonna be pretty wrong. Not waiting on C++ 20 routines. Yeah, I've looked at them, and like, it's hard to say. Yeah, I think they have the potential to do what I need, but I'm not sure yet. I have to really try them. But with enough like custom code around them, I might be able to do what I want them to do. But it's hard to say. To be honest, the function seems off. It shouldn't do any updates if it's supposed to be like a getter function. The dirty check and update should be in a different call, in my opinion. That way you won't need break the constants, but that's just my observation. I don't know code. Oh yeah. So I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think that's arguable, but the problem with me is like anything can move. Like due to how my systems are set up, anything at any time can change the transform position. like anywhere. So like I guess what I could do is like nothing in this engine. This engine doesn't have discrete steps of when stuff happens. So it's not like, oh, all the objects move and then all the colliders are checked and then all this happens and then finally rendering happens. I mean, rendering is after everything else, but like collision checks and all that stuff are just when it happens. So like an object could move randomly and then check against a collision. And it can just decide to do that on its own. So in that scenario, I need to be able to update the transforms of an object. So what happens is like an entity might move somewhere and then check a collision, and like it needs to know, like when it does the collision check, it needs to use the updated transform. So I could like, honestly, this is like not slow code, so I could just like rerun the matrix transformation. I don't like, it doesn't really need to be here. It could just be here. Like this could be like, oh, you updated the position, update the transform now, like the matrix, and that's like it's not super costly. Like this function is like it's a bit of code. It has cosine sign in it. I don't know. It's a little bit slow, but like it's not terrible, right? But the consideration here is that like instead what happens is objects can move around and do all this stuff, and then at the time of needing to get the matrix, they can perform this like transformation like code once, and then like as the collision checks do all their things, they only update them once, and that's it. But yeah, so if I didn't have this here and I didn't have it here, then there's not like a clear place in this system for the dirty check to happen, because I'd either have to make colliders like check, like when they're iterating over, which doesn't make sense because they're considered const when they're doing collision checks. So like when the collision check happens, I guess I could say like, is your matrix dirty? And if so, update it, which is what it's doing. It's just doing it in line when you request the matrix. So yeah, I'm not sure, like given the system and the constraints of the system of like anything can happen whenever, it makes it a bit harder. This is another situation where if you had a thing that was more like a true ECS, where like the systems are all running, like this system runs and this system runs, you could do all the movement stuff and then all the collision checks, and by that time between those two steps you update all the matrices, and that might be fine. But since this can happen whenever, yeah. Yeah, because yeah, since components can run, like components are just all run, so any component can do anything to any object. So like if an entity decides like, oh, I need to move 3 pixels to the left, it'll just do that, and then everything else has to be able to like compensate for that, or like no, like if I can't be like, I don't know when collision checks are happening, or like when I do know when rendering's happening. Rendering is always the end, so I could always in theory like go through all the objects and make this like update these before the render happens, and that's consistent because objects are not moving around after update. So update happens, anything happens, and then render happens. So that's one case where it would be consistent. But for other things like collision checks or like finding object positions, like all that stuff can like shift around. And in this case, this matrix is used for both rendering and it is used for collision checks as well. So it uses the matrix transformation in the actual collision detection, even though it's a pixel art game where like nothing ever rotates or anything. I did know about this mutable variable. This is probably not, I don't know. This is not a pretty way to do this. I'm just gonna try it for now just to get the basics going here. Hey, Phobos. What's the diff in Haskell? Never used it before. All functions are lazy valued in Haskell. Huh. Yeah, I've never used Haskell either, actually. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. Except that it shoots directly at the player. So it needs to do, the lightning needs to do like a pre-warm up where it like, there's gonna be lightning here, look out, and then it like shoots. Which means that I need to store the position of where it's going to go and then do it, which I have really hacky ways of doing this that I can think of. But I might just add it to lightning, where lightning has a pre-warm up. So it'll do something here if it's in warm-up stage. And then the Cataghost, I'll say warm-up 0.2 or something? I don't know how long it should be. Oh, but then my timer doesn't account for the warm-up, so... Okay, it's getting there. Big shoot. How was I doing this before? I was just waiting a certain amount of time. Okay, that's fair, I guess. What is it doing here? Oh, reverse true looping. Okay, I see. And then at the end of this, these are already going to be destroyed, so I don't need to worry about this. I guess right here I can say, right, play idle. I think idle is what it's called. Yeah. And then wait a second. This doesn't need to exist. Then we wait again. Okay, seems fine. Now from, I actually want it to be direction times like 8. 8 might even be too small. Oh, where's this? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it right now. Like getting there. Okay, that's fun. I need to set the facing. So if direction of x is not equal to 0, then facing is equal to does this return an integer? No. So then we face the way we're doing. I want to make the sprite bounce a bit when it shoots. And then finally, this needs to also, well, the lightning needs to draw that it's like about to happen. And then, yeah, okay, that's pretty good. I think the wait on, or the warm-up needs to be a bit longer, so 5 or something. And then the lightning needs to draw that it's about to happen. Which I kind of want like little particles, like just little lines, I think. I think it makes sense. And then the closer warm-up is to 0, the more lines appear, maybe. I think that'd be cool. Right, and now he's invisible until I turn the lights back on. So there's a thing like, if I turn the lights on immediately, like they turn off. And now I turn them back on, like, while this lightning strike is happening. It's actually kind of hard. Now he might be in a bugged out state. Yeah, he's like considered still hidden because this callback happened. So I actually need to enable this callback immediately because it doesn't. Oh, this does happen immediately, but the hidden is false is not happening here. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I was thinking about it earlier that it could happen. So like what's happening is it's like this objective listener is setting it to true, or it's being invoked, but then after that it's being hidden is set to true. So this being invoked means it needs to not set hidden to, like, it needs to notice this and be like, oh, like I was called. So I think I'm only going to do this if, this is also kind of a hack, but if I think this will work. It's kind of a hacky way to do this, but whatever. I think it makes sense. Like, yeah, because the objective listener, once the objective listener is invoked, it becomes disabled until you re-enable it. So if it's no longer enabled, that means it's already been invoked. Oh wait, I did that too slow. Yeah, okay, so now it's, I think, fixed. I guess I'll have to double check that it actually stays off now. Yeah. Cool. And then I think I'm going to do one other thing. I think I want it to be slightly visible, so the light will not be visible. But the ghost is still a little bit there. And I have to wait until it's somewhere I can actually see it. Yeah, like that. So it's still there. It's just not very visible. Oh, it turned on all the lights by itself by hitting stuff. It's funny. That's fine. Okay. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna get some water really quick, and then I'm gonna actually make the lightning do damage, and then after that, I think the boss is almost done. I think it's like really close. So, yeah. I'll be back in like 2 minutes, and then I'll wrap this up. Cool. You're back. Where's the... Okay, I'm back. Yeah, okay, so the next up, or the next thing I need to do is I need to make it so that this lightning actually deals damage. Which I think all lightning should. The player. I might just make it only with the player for now and ignore other things. Yeah. You know, I think I want the lightning. I'm gonna try a thing with the lightning because I think it. I feel like the weight of the line could also use this ease, which might be weird. I think it'll look good. That mostly looks good, but it's actually a bit too small. So that makes it only half as much. So it's always at least half full. It might be too much. I'm already getting it a bit, so it's like doubling it, but whatever. Yeah, I think that's good. This needs to make it so that it does this. I think this distance 120 is too far. I think that one 150. Yeah. Cool. Oh, the depth of this thing needs to be above. I didn't think about this. So the lightning depth should have. I don't know how high things are, but that should be about right. Okay. Finally, this needs to actually. Oh, it needs to do two things. I want the warm up as well. So when it's warming up, I want to actually draw stuff. Which I did not think about. So when the lightning bolt is warming up, I want to draw some lines, which I think I'm going to do in a really. Let me just try this really quick. I don't need that. Bear with this terrible thing. At from at select 2. Alright, it's equal to what are your streams usually about? Is this a game? Do you stream regular? I'm new. Hey, I just stream video or making video games. So right now I'm working on a side project. Previously I made a video game called Celeste with some friends. And now this is like a side project that I'm working on in my spare time. I don't stream that often. I kind of just stream for fun, just to like talk about game dev stuff. I'm trying to stream more often, but yeah, generally speaking, I just like making video games and coding stuff and art stuff. And so yeah, just working on this game, and it's kind of it. Yeah, it's like my weekend project that I work on with my brother for fun. And right now, I'm trying to make this boss fight work, which is mostly there, although I just, yeah, did something weird here. Last. I think this will work. I want to make the sequence smaller, actually. Here's your guide. Yeah. Once it works, I think it'll be... Like, I think the laser guide's good. It just needs to, like... Okay, and white is too... I think it should be white. Maybe, or, yeah, something like that. And then... let's see. I'm about to make it animate, which should be what is happening right now, I think. Hopefully, if I did this right. Really slowly animate. So this should be like 32. So the way I'm drawing this line is it just like, yeah, offsets the starting position by the elapsed game time and modulos it by 8. And then, yeah. I totally might come back to FNA and XNA and stuff. Yeah, I really like the direction that FNA is going actually with FNA 3D and stuff. And I like that project a lot. So yeah, I can see that being. Oops, sorry, I just hit the microphone. So yeah, I want to mess with FNA more in the future because yeah, the way that project is going, I follow it. I'm in the Discord a lot. I really like what it's doing. So yeah. Can you do this in C++? I mean, that's ugly, so I won't do it. But do you use some kind of multi-threading in your engine, like pipeline render thread or similar? Right now, no. This is all single-threaded. The only thing that's multi-threaded right now is the asset loading is a bit multi-threaded. So like, while it's loading like gameplay stuff, like the graphics, it loads like the shaders in a thread, and it loads the audio in a thread, and it loads the map. So the map has all these rooms, and it loads all it sends the rooms off to a bunch of different threads to be loaded to speed that up. Not that it really matters, because I think if I ran this in release mode, like it'll take me a second to recompile it, but that's pretty fast. But yeah, so right now threading, I'm only really using threading stuff specifically for loading, but otherwise not really. Yeah, so like now like loads the map in 20 milliseconds in release mode. Audio doesn't change because right now it's using F1 for audio, so yeah, I think I'm using the same DLLs regardless. But Yeah. In theory, the engine, like, it would be nice for it to support like threaded rendering, so it's like offloading, like it's starting to render stuff while the gameplay is still updating and things like that. That can be, but yeah, for this game, like, it's so lightweight that it doesn't really matter. Like, I think the game currently runs on my computer in debug mode at like 2,000 frames a second. So until until it starts taking like many times slower than that, like once it gets like 50 times slower, then I'll have to worry about it. But um, currently, it's just not really being an issue because it's like a tiny pixel art platformer, like that only updates one room at a time. But I kind of wanted looking at stuff just for fun because I haven't really done threaded rendering stuff. Um, the annoying thing is like modern rendering is actually really good at threading. Like I think like DirectX 11 even, like, which I think I'm using DirectX 11. Like it just has threaded stuff like automatically. Like I can just like load textures in a thread and it doesn't care. It's just doing everything happily. But OpenGL is like so annoying to like thread properly. And currently I coded all the rendering stuff myself. So if I switch to something else that does that stuff for me and I just don't even do the rendering code myself, then it would, yeah, I guess do that automatically. But yeah, OpenGL threading is really annoying. What's that gonna do? I was doing something. Oh, I made the catacomb ghost thing not far enough. So this actually needs to be like 100. And then I think I want to change this slightly. Lightning. No, that's probably fine. I feel like the warm-up day can be a little bit longer. Okay, so now I think the lightning needs to actually do damage, which I think the lightning should just handle. Feels like the lightning should just do it. Although, yeah, actually all my damaging stuff is done through a damager component. So that's kind of weird. Because the lightning also wants to do damage, but it's its own component. So maybe this lightning component should not do damage? Or I do something extremely hacky and terrible? I'm gonna do something extremely hacky and terrible. And then, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. I'm gonna start with this though. JavaScript? Yeah, it's true. Hacks are the regret of the future. Yeah, I'm gonna say M damager. People say entity adds. This component adds other components, but it just feels wrong. It's gonna add multiple components. Feels very wrong. Quieter direction. Oh, this is C++. Yeah. Sorry, I missed your first question. But yeah, this is C++. C++ 17. So yeah, this is video where like this component, really be adding other components. And then and actually, I want to get rid of this relative. I'm going to make it so that it's always relative. It's just weird not having it be relative to the object that's creating it, in my opinion. Would it make more sense for Lightning to be an entity instead of a component since it needs component? Yeah, you know, I'm starting to think that too, maybe. I don't have a Discord right now. No, for JavaScript, I don't. No, yeah, I'm not in too many like coding Discords or anything. But I'm sure there are JavaScript Discord. There's probably like an official JavaScript coding Discord even. But yeah, I'm not in it right now. Yeah, Lime Oats. I'm kind of thinking the same thing actually, because like it feels like it could maybe just be an object, and there's like a lightning renderer component or something that like draws the lightning, but then the actual what did it not like here? Oh right, but the actual like lightning, it's because it being a component and it adds other components. Just like I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Works though. Try this again with colliders visible this time. Yeah, I mean it works. It definitely feels wrong. Is it another mini boss and they all look the same? No, this is the same mini boss. So I'm actually working on this is the same one I was working on last week. But now it's like I'm just adding another move to it. So it had this is like the final move that it does. So I just put it at the start of the routine. So normally it wouldn't do this. It's about time I actually test the full fight though. And normally you would not have lantern. Why does be off? So it doesn't do lightning attack immediately. It waits a while. So it does these other attacks first. Yeah. like that. That was a full fight. We declare component and component macros too. Yeah, so the reason I did them is because I just often have a bunch of stuff. But yeah, so component, my component system works by like it needs some meta information around it. So each component needs to be assigned like a unique type of ID. So like each component, like here are all my components on the side, but like a collider's like it gets assigned a unique ID and a name. And that helps with a bunch of stuff like scripting. It lets you put them into their own like pools of game objects and stuff. And I can check what type they are without having to use templates or anything. I can just like know what type they are, which is nice. So I needed all this extra stuff around each component type. So it just made sense to kind of declare this stuff up front. So this is the actual class definition here. But then it also creates like this component meta template class, which has like a type, a name, and an update order. And then it also has a function for script bindings. And then it also has a using to like, I have a component ref system that's called a component ref of like collider, for example. And this is like not a direct pointer. It's like, it kind of wraps an ID so I can look them up. And I can use this like after the component is destroyed, this is still like valid, but it'll tell me it's invalid. So I can kind of, it'll like catch me using dead components and stuff like that. So yeah, so I want to like every single component wants all this stuff, and I don't want to type all this shit every single time. So that's what that's for. And declare component, it should really be called, it should be called forward declare component. So like a lot of times components reference, like for example this lightning, it has a damage reference in it to a damager component, but I don't need to actually include damager. Like I could include damager here, or I can this is just forward declaring both the damager component and also the damager ref. So that way I can just have this here. And since I'm not including the actual damager class, like this is invalid because I'm just forward declaring it. It's fine. So now I just have, yeah, so this forward, it should be called like forward declare, like that or something. And it's arguable whether I even need it. I just found myself constantly being like, oh, class damager, and then using damager ref is equal to component ref damager. Like I was just doing this like all the time. So those are the two reasons. Yeah, it's kind of Metroidvania. It's kind of, yeah, Zelda. I think the biggest inspirations for this are probably Link's Awakening and Cave Story. I think are the two kind of big driving forces behind the inspiration for this game. And it has kind of like Zelda-like upgrades. So like after you beat this boss, it gives you this Firefly Lantern. And like to get into this area, you need the shovel, which lets you like hit stuff downwards. Like you don't have this down attack from the start of the game, which lets you like break debris and stuff like that. And you also need the shovel to get into this dungeon. You use this like platform thing, so you can't get up here until you have the shovel attack. And then you can use the shovel for other things too, like yeah, getting across these kind of things. And then there's a few other ones, like the running boots, which I haven't really worked on very much. With the running boots, I'm not sure how useful they'll be, but I haven't worked in the other areas yet, so we'll see. I think they'll be kind of cool for some stuff. And there's an up attack which I've been working on, which I do not like yet, but the up attack looks like this. And this is also a power up to get, but it's not very good yet. Yeah. Zeldoidvania. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to like the Cave Story kind of start like I feel like people call Cave Story a Metroidvania, but I mean it's not really. It feels less because Cave Story is kind of linear. Like I mean it's linear, right? Like you just go from area to area. It feels less like Metroid-y to me and Castlevania-y. So but I think people often just call it a Metroidvania. But yeah, it's kind of like an RP. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a kind of JRPG, Metroidvania, adventure quest thing. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's an action. It's an action platformer. Yeah. Oh, hey, Marlon. Yeah, actually, I have played Gato Roboto. I really like it. It's really cool, and yeah, I think the aesthetic of this game is definitely similar. This area that I'm in right now actually has cats, so I guess it. Yeah, I don't like when it spawns right in the center like that. That is bothering me a lot. I'm gonna add a case here where like when it's um yeah, I don't like that. So I'm gonna do this, which is this huge random thing. Whoa. Um, this code looks terrible, and it is, but that's okay. This shouldn't use calc_rand. This should have its own random. Does it not? It does have a rand, so why am I not using this? And then I kind of want to add a thing to this random thing that's like um because I do this all the time where I just want a sign. Yeah, that's a fun idea, Chevy. Yeah, I think if you're gonna use Lua in C sharp, then Moon sharp makes a lot of sense. I haven't actually used it, but it definitely seems like the ideal approach. Double arrow. This boss fight might honestly be too hard. I guess we'll see. I feel like the difficulty spike here is pretty ridiculous. This thing could still kill you afterwards. It's funny. Am I on Windows 11? I am using Windows 11 right now, um, on my home computer, which is here. So yeah, I just wanted to try it for fun. It's okay. I don't know. I don't really have strong opinions about it, but uh, at work I'm still on Windows 10. Thanks, Marlon. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the color palette stuff. Yeah, M scripting is really cool. Recently, I've seen a lot of people using Moonsharp instead of Enlua and contributes for that for the efficiency. I don't know actually. I don't know enough about Enlua or Moonsharp to say like I'm using Lua right now for this project, but like in C++, Lua is really easy to hook up. Like I just yeah, like Lua's right here. Just import it. I just copied the GitHub, the Lua GitHub into here, and then like yeah, started using it. Um, I have like a little scripting like wrapper around it that just does yeah, just does stuff. Um, Lua API, like the whole way Lua works is a little bit weird. Like I had to wrap my head around it a bit. Like it's a lot like stack based where you're like pushing and popping values onto a stack, and I found that a bit weird to kind of wrap my head around. Um, but like, uh, yeah, it's not too bad. How compatibility with your programs on Win 11? So far, I mean, I've had no compatibility issues with running anything on Windows 11. I think Windows 11 is basically just Windows 10. So I feel like if it runs on Windows 10, it runs on Windows 11 is my experience so far. Um, Windows 11 just seems kind of like slower to me, and the UI is kind of like takes longer to render stuff for some reason. But otherwise, I mean, it seems fine. I don't know. I like how the UI looks more. It just takes forever. It takes longer to render, even on my computer, which I think my computer's fine. Oh yeah, I've heard of Soul 2. Yeah, Soul 2, I've heard of that, but I haven't actually tried it. That's basically it, like that gets around the Lua stack, right? It's just kind of like set variables and unset, like you just yeah, setting variables, which seems cool. That seems really nice. I keep missing that. Okay, there's something getting owned. It's not dead yet. Still not dead? Oh, it got owned. Oh, the player doesn't respawn. For some reason? That's really weird, actually. Well, at least I know the game still works if the player's dead. Or the player doesn't exist. Oh, it doesn't all work. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. See, there's my component ref finding out that an object doesn't exist. I mean, I don't even know this is worth fixing. I guess I'll fix it. Did I already get the player? Do I get the player every frame in this? Oh, I do already, so I don't think when I get the player down here, I can just say if player. Also, I mean, this seeking bullet might break if the target is non-existent as well. Oh no, it actually checks if the target exists. Interesting. What engine is this? There is no engine right now. It's just like my own. I mean, there is an engine, but it's like my own thing. If you see in the video description down or over there, I think hopefully it's pointing the right way. It says there's a link to the GitHub for the stuff I'm using. But otherwise, it's just like this editor and stuff, just all my own code. Did you see that thing about Wing Commander? No, I haven't seen that thing about Wing Commander. I missed whatever that is. The only problem I've encountered is it created huge translation use for bindings. So pylons can suck you do what I did and slap all your bindings in a single. Oh, interesting. Huh, okay. The programmer had a bug where when the game ended, it would crash, and they couldn't figure it out right up to the ship day. So the programmer just used the hex editor to change the kernel error message code. Just say thanks for playing. That's awesome. That's perfect. That's not even a bug. That's solved completely. That's amazing. I love that. Are you familiar with Game Industry Live? I got an email from them, but I'm not really sure what it is. No, I have not heard of that. I'm watching the VODs here, hoping to learn something about Gamedev myself. I'm web dev. Cool. Yeah, I did, oh, thanks, Chevy. Yeah, I did a lot of web dev in the past. I haven't been doing as much anymore because I've mostly just been doing game dev now. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the map. It's like, needs a bit of work still. But yeah, there's a few things that I'm worried about with like, it feels slightly too zoomed in to me. Like I'd like the map to be a bit smaller, but right now a single tile is a single pixel. So if I make it smaller, it gets like kind of weird. So, but yeah, I might come back to it and tweak it a bit. But right now, it's just like drawing. It literally is just drawing the rooms. Like, it's like iterating over all the rooms in the map and drawing them. And it like for doorways, it finds them by just looking. Like it looks in the room. Like if there's like solids like missing on one side, then it draws the door there. So yeah, it's been working out so far. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna need to tweak this boss a bit. Like, I think it might be a little bit difficult. I'll see. I think there's gonna be ways that you can like get extra health and stuff to help with boss fights if you need. Like, I think there's gonna be people that I sell kind of like Binding of Isaac, like blue hearts or whatever. I think I'm gonna have some stuff like that in this, which in theory could help. But in general, I think this mini boss is kind of there. Thanks, I'm glad you liked the mini map. Is the res of this game the same as used for Celeste? I can't remember what the resolution for Celeste is. Is Celeste, I think Celeste is 320 by 180, I think. And if that's the case, then I think this game is the same. Because this game is also 320 by 180. And I'm pretty sure Celeste was, because Celeste we wanted to scale, yeah. We wanted Celeste to scale into, the reason I do this one is because it scales both into 720p and it scales into 1080p without having to like break pixels. So yeah, it's the same res as Celeste then. I like the size in general. Yeah, still 16:9. I like 16:9. What do I think about Unity? I don't know. I have personal opinions. I'm like, I don't love big engines like that just because it's not what I enjoy working in. Like, I really like doing my own thing, having my own workflow. But I also like, I think it takes more time. And if you're not into doing engine-y like code, like I am, then yeah, it's a good option. Like I really like doing engine like code. I like learning about render pipelines. I like coding that stuff. I like you know, messing around in my own, like setting up my own little editor and stuff. I really enjoyed that process. But if you're not into that, then yeah, I think Unity's a good option. Um, if you, especially if you want to make a 3D game, like I like making 2D games for the most part. So like 2D games, I think setting up your own little engine is a lot more straightforward. There's like less stuff you have to constantly be thinking about. Like, oh, like Unity comes with a lot like pre-set up, like light maps and like um, I don't know, like a 3D editor, honestly, like a 3D editor where you can grab components and drag things around and stuff. So having all that stuff there is like pretty nice. Um, but me personally, like I don't really enjoy Unity, but that's just like my personal like. I have tons and tons of friends who love Unity too, and that's cool. Ultimately, like it's just kind of a whatever makes it more fun for you to make a game in, and for me, that's like coding my own little like my own little stuff. Yeah, 3D engines mean more math, so like that's like unquestionable. There's a lot of math in a 3D engine, and people spend like their entire lives learning all the rendering math that go into 3D engines. How's the resolution of 320 by 180 with such high res fonts and portrait art? Right, yeah, so yeah, like Dust Awful said, um, it's the gameplay is drawn at that resolution, but the overworld and all the UI are drawn afterwards on top. So we draw the gameplay at that small resolution, scale it up to the screen, and then we draw fonts and stuff on top of the game. So it's like in this game, if I wanted to, for example, like I don't do it, but I don't think I could do it from the game because the game gets drawn to. Actually, I could do it from the game. Like right here, for example, in my game, I could like this is probably not worth going over here, but like I'll do this more. Like this game is drawn at like a lower resolution, but like I can draw stuff on top of the like after the screen is drawn, I can draw stuff on top at a higher resolution because I can just draw that at whatever the window size is. So like the window is not at a low resolution, the gameplay is, and then it gets scaled up to the window, and then on top of that I can draw whatever I want. So in this case, I'm drawing a square, which maybe I should have made it bigger, like. So yeah, that's like the general idea. So like there's a, you know, I don't have like any high res text right now, but you know, you could just do that if you wanted on top of the gameplay, and that's what Celeste does. So Celeste draws its stuff on top afterwards. Building an engine with an editor is kind of like building a game in its own. Yeah, that's super true. 3D is an entire different dimension. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's a whole other dimension. Have you done much C++ before this project? Honestly, not a lot. I did a tiny bit. Like I went to university for 2 years before I dropped out, and I didn't do much C++, but I did a bit of C during that. But that was like 10 years ago. And then Yeah, otherwise not a lot. Just kind of like in my own time tinkering with stuff. I've done a little bit. But most of the C++ I learned was over like the last year, I'd say. Last year and a half. Um, and today, as I learned how mutable works. Imagine being a 4D game. Yeah, there's a game, I can't remember what it's called, and it's about 4D spaces, and it's like the you're basically seeing like a 3D slice of a 4D space, and I can't remember the game's called, but it's been in development for forever, but it looks cool. It's like yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. The one, yeah, that one, the one Bob Boy just said. Do you feel like you know a lot of C++ at 6 use cases? Um, I feel like I know enough C++ to understand the basics. Like enough to make a game in it, and enough to kind of like I don't know all the features of C++, and I don't even use a ton of the standard library. Like I kind of just use my own little pocket of C++. Um, so I know enough to know how it works and not to like mess myself up anymore. So like I know how like scoping works and like how like resources are like used and destroyed and stuff like that. So I know enough C++ to like understand that stuff, like structurally how the language works. But there's all sorts of like I don't know like 90% of the standard library. I don't know all sorts of little intricacies. But like once you know the basics and you understand like this is how memory is like used, and like this is when memory goes out of scope, and like how to avoid pointers that point to nothing, like those kind of like problems. Once you know that stuff, um, then you know enough to make whatever you want in C++. And at the end of the day, then I'm never going to learn all the intricacies of C++ because it's a gigantic disaster language that has all sorts of hidden things and hidden gotchas. So I'm never going to learn all those, and I don't really want to. But I know enough to like make the things that I need, if that makes sense. What are my computer specs? I actually don't know. Um, Yeah, just there. I have a graphics card. I have some SSDs. It's Windows 11. I can't even remember what graphics card I have, honestly. I'm not very good at like. I know how to program. I don't know. I don't know how computers actually work. Actually, it'll say my graphics card when I run the game. I have this one. I have a GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. Um, and then yeah, I think I have like two SSDs. And I don't remember what my CPU is. Some Intel one, I think. Yeah, I just make pixel art run across the screen. I don't know how computers actually work. Yeah, no, Chevy tells me about Rust all the time. I'm aware of the Rust movement. And I'd love to try Rust at some point. I just haven't had the time recently, but yeah, it's definitely something I'd love to dive into a bit and learn. Um, and yeah. Oh yeah, like no, I think C++ sucks in like a lot of ways. C++ is fun. Like I enjoy working in C++ most of the time, and like I enjoy the things that it lets me do, and I think like there's a lot of good stuff about the language. But at the end of the day, it's a 40-year-old language that has made a lot of mistakes and learned a lot and is pretty much a gigantic mess. Uh, so yeah, take that as you will. I mean, it has good stuff and bad stuff. I think there's a lot of like potential in newer languages like Rust and stuff that are kind of designed from the ground up to be like do what C++ does or what C does. And I think that's really cool. I'm excited for that stuff in the future, things like Zig and Rust and so on. Um, yeah. Celeste was in C sharp. Celeste was all C sharp. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to try Zig as well because I really like how it looks. Um, and I like the idea, like the thing in Zig, and I mean Rust really does this too, where like they don't have hidden stuff in them. Like C++ is all about hidden things because there's like destructors and constructors and like overloading operators and like anything can happen kind of anywhere and there's exceptions and all the stuff that like your code is never quite doing like what it's written like there's all this hidden stuff that can happen in like it's really simple statements. Like even an equal statement can have all of this bloat and all of this stuff hidden behind it that is running and doing things that you might not expect. So it makes it really easy to accidentally like explode in your face if something happens you're not expecting or code does something really weird. So the thing I really think is really cool about both Rust and Zig are that they kind of said no, like we're not doing any of that stuff. Like Zig has like there's no exceptions to when like the code you write is what happens and there's no overloads, there's no like constructors or destructors. It's just very clear this is the code that's happening. And yeah, Rust does that a lot too. So I like that direction of coding where like things are not hidden from the programmer because like destructors are really useful and I like the idea of like having things where like it automatically destructs the object when it goes out of scope, but there's all sorts of gotchas and hidden stuff with C++, and I like modern languages that are trying to work around like still make them accessible and easy and like fun to use but not have these hidden gotchas everywhere. I think that's really cool. And still not make it like like you also don't want a thing where you're constantly having to write like tons of extra code just because there's no destructors or whatever. But yeah. Yeah, I really like how Zig looks. I really want to try it. I really like how like standalone it's trying to be, like completely like you can just run Zig anywhere and it completely like doesn't rely on anything. And then I also like the way the language looks and stuff. Yeah. Well, I think at this point though, like I got this mini boss done, and I think I need to eat some food soon. So at this point, I might wrap up the stream because I'm feeling pretty positive about this fight. I should turn off my lantern. I think it's gonna need some testing and then like some tweaking because I think right now the difficulty spike here is pretty intense. But on the other hand, this boss is optional. Like you don't actually need the lantern to progress right now. So it might be fine that it's kind of a harder fight. But I think right now it's probably a little bit on the hard side. Also, I don't like that you can just stand here. I need to get rid of that platform. Because that kind of defeats the purpose of this fight a little bit. So I'll probably have to tweak that. Oh my god. Oh shit. Yeah, it's pretty hard. But it's fun. I like it. Oh yeah, now it's just running on its own because the player doesn't respawn. So that's cool. Normal, actually, the only reason the player is not respawning is because like I'm debug loading into the game, so the player it doesn't know like what save location you're at last, so it doesn't know what to do. In any other normal circumstance, it would the player would like respawn normally. But yeah, cool. Yeah, I think at this point I'm going to gonna probably stop streaming. Yeah, I think the lightning is working. I think it's working. yeah. At this point, I think I will. I don't know what what happened here. He's just playing in the dark now because the lights got turned off. So the bot's just like running around and doing stuff in the dark. Cool. All right. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna stop and eat some food. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I can keep doing this more often. I'm trying to stream more often, but we'll see. Next weekend I'm away, so I'm not gonna stream next weekend. But otherwise I'll be around. So hopefully, starting in October, I'll be streaming again every Saturday. Seems like it's working. So yeah, hopefully I do that. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, everyone. And I will see you all later. Yeah, and I'll upload this VOD also to YouTube. People are asking for that a lot, so I'm gonna do that consistently if I can. These video files end up being big. Like the last VOD I uploaded, it was like 11 gigabytes when I downloaded it from Twitch. So yeah, but I will upload this to YouTube. Cool. Okay, see y'all later. Thanks for hanging out. I had a lot of fun. Bye.